Good evening and welcome to Realty Coffee Talk on Awaz Entertainment in Canada, around the world. My name is Tahir Qureshi. I'm your host tonight. We will discuss so you have understanding of seller representation agreement. People need to be educated about what type of seller representation agreements are available. It is a multiple listing agreement or is exclusive agreement. What is included in the agreement? Who is paying and how much commission is being negotiated? What is the commencement date and when it expires? Who is liable to make a commitment? Who is selling a property, and buyer and the broker who is representing the client. How the commissions are distributed. How any disclosure benefit that comes to real estate brokerage is compensated. So let's begin our conversation about seller representation agreement. We have two types of agreements. One is seller customer service, when property is not listed in the market, and a buyer broker present an offer to an owner who is selling a property, and they promise to allow the broker compensation agreed in that seller customer service agreement. Listing agreement, which has become a seller representation agreement, is a commitment between seller and the listing brokerage, represented by a broker or a seller or a salesperson on behalf of the brokerage to make a commitment. If you look at the MLS form, you might have seen Form 200 created by Ontario Real Estate Association. We all realtors are a member of this association, and this form, right top of the agreement, it says this is a multiple listing agreement. That means your property, when it is signed, will be on MLS. Now there are various MLS systems available. The largest one in Canada is Toronto Regional Real Estate Board. Second one is Ortis. It's realestate.ca supported by Ortis. And my brokerage, City Pro Realty Brokerage, is a member of both MLS system. Second one is this agreement is an exclusive agreement. That means it will not be advertised on MLS, and your listing brokerage has their own clientele and database. They will be selling your property internally. Now, so first it comes the brokerage information on the agreement, then comes the seller information and the property that being listed for sale. Then comes the commencement time. When this agreement begins, it can be signed months before, 2 weeks before, 10 days before, or 1 day before, or the day of the commencement. So the commencement is the date when it's effective. And there is a termination agreement. Agreement is not effective unless it has a termination date. That means it commences on a specific date and it ends on a specific date. Do you know that? Have you ever looked at your agreement when you're signing? What is the duration of your agreement? Pay attention to it. The third item, which goes below, is that seller represent and certifies that they have no engagement with any other brokerage to sell this particular property they are listing. And also on the right side of this form, a seller has to initial that. That means you cannot say that my realtor who came to you to list your property did not tell me that I listed with 2 people. You have the ability to list with multiple, but MLS will not allow the listing because they go by the address. It's possible, maybe. You need to ask your brokerage to make sure they check it out. Whereas, and you have exclusive agreement, multiple brokerage can sell your property and you can sign as long as those conditions are specified in Schedule A. Then comes number 1, definition of the contract. Who are the parties in this agreement? Which is a seller and then the listing brokerage. And this is a definition provided in this agreement. And if you have any new condition that you want to add, you can use Schedule A as a part of your listing representation agreement. Then comes the commission. Traditionally, the seller pays commission to all listing broker, and then listing broker cooperate if they are going to put on MLS. When you put on MLS, it becomes available. It indicates that the seller has agreed to compensate the cooperating broker if they bring an offer. So total commission, when we talk about the first form, on clause number 2 on this form, is total commission that you agreed with the listing brokerage. Let's assume you have agreed 5% commission, so it could be 5% commission there. But on the subsequent paragraph, it says if you cooperate with a buyer brokerage, you can give half of that commission, which is 2.5, to the buyer broker after presenting an acceptance of a satisfactory offer, which becomes agreement of purchase and sale. Or any terms. There is no law, there is no restriction, there is no guidelines. It's up to you, and type of services that you receive is between the broker who is representing the brokerage, and the seller willing to compensate to get the service. Level of services, lots of brokerages have defined different level of services, and they give you a list of things. In this day and age, technology has taken over. So majority of the people will have the same MLS system that every realtor has access to it. You have already chosen a realtor to work with you, so we are going beyond that. We're not discussing how to get to a realtor because we have discussed that in the past. So then is a holdover period. So let's assume that you agreed to 5% total commission, and the seller, listing agent or listing brokerage sell the property, they are entitled to entire 5%. Giving compensation to the cooperative broker is only if there is a satisfactory offer from the cooperating broker. If there is no offer, that means the total commission will go to the listing brokerage, unless so specified in Schedule A. Sometime, if the seller and buyer is represented by the same brokerage, sometimes brokerage provide a special discount, and that should be specified in Schedule A. So you expect that when a brokerage is representing buyer and seller, they will give reduction in commission, and there is no restriction. This is how you negotiate with the listing brokerage. Then becomes the holdover period. Holdover period is when you list the property and property doesn't sell, or you decided to terminate the agreement. The holdover period is for the day it ends, the original agreement ends. The listing brokerage has shown properties to the people, and those come back and you go and deal with them directly, then you will owe commission to the listing brokerage. There is a certain condition in terms of if you want to relist with somebody else, it also depends on the circumstances, how it's to be interpreted. I recommend that you talk to your lawyer if you have a dispute on that. So both seller and the listing brokerage will initial on both sides of the page, page 1. Page 2 is a representation, and it tells you that the listing brokerage will represent you when to market. We're going to take this call coming from Realty Coffee Talk, Awaz Entertainment. Realty Coffee Talk, you are live on Awaz TV.
Hi there. I'm calling about the holdover. I just had a question about, what is how many days should that typically be?
Well,
as a seller, for myself as a seller.
Well, there is no minimum or maximum time. It is up to you to decide how many time you want to allow, or you both agree and negotiate with the listing broker.
Okay, so if I want to cancel an agreement, I'm still obligated by the number of days in the holdover. So it should, typically it should be, can we have a week, or what would you recommend for a seller?
I would recommend about 30 days as a minimum, but the listing agent might require a longer period of time. We have a situation where people put 180 days. It all depends with good intentions to, if somebody wants to breach the agreement and then go to the potential buyer who came through the listing broker, then they want to protect them. And so, in terms of date and time or number of days, is negotiated between the seller and the seller and the brokerage.
So, if I terminate a listing agreement, is the holdover? Does it only apply to people that have already seen the house, or is it for? Can I get it relisted again?
Yes, you can relist again.
Brokerage?
Yes, you can. You can list it when the listing is terminated. It only protects the people who have come through during the existing, the contract period.
Okay. So that's perfect. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for calling on Awaz Entertainment, Realty Coffee Talk. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
You're welcome. Bye. So this is a good question. We were just talking about the holdover period. So this is why it's very, very important to pay attention when you are listing the property. So now, if you have a very extended period of time, and if you are not happy with the realtor that you are working with right now, then you're stuck with it, because there could be something why the holdover period is there, to make sure to protect the listing brokerage, because they put efforts. In order to list a property, there's a lot of paperwork required, a lot of research work is required, a lot of legwork is required, lots of time is required to put together the listing, marketing, advertisement, lots of money is spent by listing brokers. So they want to make sure that they are able to protect their interests. So this holding period will give them the opportunity, if one of their client who has come through that period, they can capitalize on that and take that benefit. Now comes the representation. So basically, seller is representing you. When you have hired a listing brokerage, I highly recommend any inquiry coming to you, they are representing you. You are paying for it. So make sure that you are referring all these potential buyers and inquiries to them, because they are representing you. and make sure you are providing accurate and complete information. For example, lot size, square footage of your house, your, you have floor plans, or you have a site survey. This survey is very, very important. You got to have that. So make sure you share that. Then comes the multiple representation. When you have listing a property, there is a tremendous potential that a buyer will come through you, and he or she wants to buy the property. They came to your open house. Right now, it's not many people, our realtors are doing open houses. We're still very cautious about it, but it's happening. But the virtual tool happening, access to the technology, Zooming, everything is creating a lot of opportunity and network. So if they are asking you to represent, a buyer asking you to represent, remember that the seller has become your client. Now the buyer is coming to them. They normally will be coming as a customer. This is one of those changes may be coming in Teresa, Trusted Real Estate Business Broker Act. We're still waiting for some regulation. Hopefully by October, we'll have some changes to REBA that will tell us a little bit more about it. So now, if you are the same brokerage or you are the same person representing buyer and seller, it changes structure how to deal with the offers. First of all, as a seller, if there is offer is represented, if you are representing buyer and seller, we cannot tell the motivation of the seller, why, whether they will accept the list price or they are going to negotiate, or they'll accept the lower than the list price. Motivation. Same thing a buyer. If the buyer put an offer, we cannot tell seller, the buyer has put this offer, but they are willing to go up above the list price or want to increase the price. That motivation cannot be discussed unless there is a written instruction from buyer and seller to negotiate the deal. Also, there is a very, very clear instruction there. Is the buyer broker representing the board buyer? If you have to do notification, it is recommended that third party, your lawyer, should receive the notices. For example, removing of conditions or accepting an offer. So I always recommend our client to engage the lawyers in the beginning so they can review your contract when you are going through conditional period. It's a very good idea. So you can check with them. If you don't feel comfortable you being represented by same brokerage, then you can ask all your agreement to be sent to your lawyer for review prior to submission. And secondly, if there's any notices are coming, it should be gone through. This is a very clear guidelines from Real Estate Council, and especially it says right here, where a brokerage represents both seller and the buyer, multiple representation, the brokerage shall not be entitled or authorized to be agent for either buyer or seller for the purpose of giving and receiving notices. That means those notices should be received through the lawyer or directly between them. Then comes a very, very important factor, is finder fee, referral fee. As you know, I am also principal mortgage broker for Canada Express Mortgage Inc. I have a client that one of my employee represent them in real estate, and I take care of the mortgage. So you need to give a disclosure. There is a form if you are receiving this is if I am arranging a mortgage, I have my own disclosure under the Mortgage Broker Act. Now, if I am a realtor and I refer a client to a bank or a lender, then I have to use Form 610, ORIA Form 610, a disclosure of benefit. Whatever referral fee is coming, and I need to disclose that to you, that I will be paid so much money if I am getting, I'm referring a client who becomes a buyer in this case. Or the seller is selling the house and they're going to buy another house, so I will have this representation, referral fee. So you are going to not only Disclosure, you're going to tell them exactly how much amount you are being paid, for what purposes, and who is paying for it. So if you have never been aware of that, now you pay attention. A consumer have the right to ask if you're going to be paid for something that you're going to provide, to make sure that you have the disclosure. Then it's come the referral inquiries. When you list the property, that if you have a family, friends, anyone, you have a legal obligation to a listing brokerage to refer all clients to them. This is where people make mistakes. They do not contact the listing broker when there is somebody in the family or a friend wants to buy it, and they try to cancel the deal to try to make a direct deal. This is where ethical dilemma comes into the picture. We have to be professional. You have to know the realtors work day and night. They're self-employed. 99.9% self-employed. They do not get paid until the transaction completes. They work very, very hard. They deserve every penny they earn through hard work. So you refer your client, refer all your inquiries to your realtor. Then it's called marketing. When we are listing a property for sale, whether it's a MLS or exclusive, you are allowing the listing brokerage to market your property. You need to know how this property is marketed. So if you are not familiar with the CMA, comparative market analysis, when agent or realtors, they come to you and do a presentation for listing your property, the person who come with the CMA is the right person for you because they have done their homework. So they know, they will tell you which method of marketing they're going to be using. As you know, because of coronavirus, everybody is using social media. We have realtor.ca. Every realtor, there are approximately 85 to 90,000 realtors in the province of Ontario. They are about 224 FRI. I'm a fellow of Real Estate Institute of Canada. I'm a certified real estate specialist. Very few in Ontario, out of 85 to 90,000. So we do our work. So now, warranty. You are warranting to the listing broker that you own this property. This property has no defects. You are giving it all disclosure, and you're warranting that this is your property, and you are saying it. You have exclusive authority to list this property and sell the property. Then comes the indemnification and insurance. You're indemnifying because we are, as a real estate professional, selling your property. We do not own the property. Whatever you have agreed to us to put on MLS data sheet, when you are listing on MLS and you have a multiple listing service agreement, we have an MLS data form which gives the details about the property, which has a PIN number, property information number, taxes and sizes, lot, legal description, room sizes, the bathroom, number of beds, sizes and details. And depending on condominium, there are multiple things that we have to verify. And those information is become your MLS, which is then it's transmitted to as a realtor.ca. And we have approximately 110,000 realtors in Canada. And realtor.ca is a combination of all real estate board across Canada can search the property right at realtor.ca. And also, when you are guaranteeing and you are warranting that to the seller that you will have an insurance of the property until your property is sold, firm, and transferred to the buyer. The buyer, the day of closing belongs to the buyer, so you have to make sure you are insuring your property during if it has been sold. Family law. Spousal consent is required if it is a matrimonial home. And you're certifying In this case, when you're selling a property, that the spousal consent is not necessary in this case. You're certifying it. And because it is important factor, you cannot sell. You can sell, but you will have a legal obligation, because in Ontario, the matrimonial home, regardless it is in the name of wife or husband, it is owned jointly, because there is a joint tenancy. And each one, if the both names are on the title, then you don't need to worry about the spousal consent. Otherwise, there is a spousal consent in this form. I will show you as we move forward. So this is very, very important that under family law that you are verifying it, because someone has multiple investment properties and this is not a matrimonial home, and in those cases it protects the listing brokerage. Verification information. When you give us information about listing your property, as a part of our due diligence under Section 21 of Real Estate Business Broker Act, REBA 2002, we find material facts about the property. You are giving consent to the brokerage to verify and confirm the ownership, other information where is possible, that you are not misrepresenting and falsifying information. So this gives us authority to verify the information you provide. And then you also, number 11, is the use and distribution of information. We only distribute information that is only related to selling the property, not the private and personal information. So then becomes a consent, advertising consent. Remember, what will happen if, let's assume you listed the property for 30 days, 60 days, and it expired. Should the other realtor contact you after expiry of your listing date? Because realtor will know that when it's expired, because it shows on MLS. So you have a does or does not allow that. Then the most important thing is what will happen if you sign an agreement, something happens to you. There is a clause 12, successor and assign. The executor, administrator, successor, and assigns of the undersigned are bound by the terms of this agreement. So that means that in case someone dies after signing the listing agreement, they are bound by this agreement. Conflict or discrepancy. Sometimes lots of discussions, verbal commitments are made between the listing agent and the seller, but they are not documented. This agreement will supersede that. If you have a situation where you feel that your listing agent has made some commitment and promise with you, assumption, expectation, then you include them in Schedule A as a part of this listing agreement. It's called listing agreement, authority for sale, or lease. So this is the final document when you sign it. Then you have electronic communication. You are allowing the listing brokerage, or the broker or seller person representing electronically transmit the document. Then is Schedule A. I have mentioned in several my program before, whenever you make a commitment, you expect things from your listing brokerage, or he or she is promising you a thing. Put it in Schedule A. Schedule A is a part of the listing agreement. It's very, very important that you define what are you expecting, how the commission is to be distributed, for example. What are the special instructions that you want to give to the, for example, COVID condition, to make sure people wear masks. We have, as a listing brokerage, we have our own protocol that everybody follow. But you can specially give instructions to them. Put them in there. How are you going to market my listing? Tell me your plan for 60 days or duration, what you're going to be doing in the first 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. This is very, very important because you are making a commitment with the consumer and you are telling them that I am going to market such and such way. Then say it. Put it in writing. Right now, as you can see, Realtor.ca is the most beneficial, optimized system in the world. Your property is shown and seen by millions every day on Realtor.ca. And all realtors around Canada pay for that service, which is free for you. So what else are you doing? I'm doing a local advertisement, flyer distribution, in the newspaper, on the TV, social media. Have them list them in Schedule A. And this is very important. Now, under REBA, the listing agent is required to submit this listing agreement signed by the agent, submitted to seller for signature. If there are two owners, wife and husband, you cannot list the property. You must have the consent of the both in order to list the property. So on the bottom, this is a Schedule 16, and then you have a signatures. Seller signs that. Agent signs that. Then declaration of insurance. This is very, very important. Whenever you are listing a property, you have to show that you have a license. Under Real Estate Business Broker Act, we have a license. And this license shows the date. It is like this. It has a license number, registration number, name of the brokerage, when license will expire, and at what time. So you must see that. It is for the agent under the law. Every real estate professional is required to carry this license. It assures you that you are dealing with the right person, a person who is licensed and is a valid license. You can also check the name of the brokerage at reco.on.ca. You can check the brokerage name, make sure it has a license. You can also talk to check the realtor who is representing the brokerage to make sure they have a valid license. You are watching Realty Coffee Talk on Awaz Entertainment. We're going to take a short break and we'll be coming back shortly after the break.
चार बजे देखिए आपका किचन विद शहबाज गोरी। सुबह 5 बजे देखिए सितारे और हम। 5:30 बजे देखिए मैसेज ऑफ मर्सी। शाम 6 बजे देखिए दीन और दुनिया। इस्लाम इन मॉडर्न टाइम मजर अयूब के साथ देखिए हर मंगल शाम 6 बजे और हर जुमा शाम 5 बजे। थिंक अबाउट इट सलमान कुरैशी के साथ हर मंगल शाम 7 बजे। रियल्टी कॉफी टॉक ताहिर कुरैशी के साथ देखिए हर जुमेरात 7 बजे। टुनाइट टॉक रिजवान असलम के साथ हर जुमे को 7 बजे। देखिए तकरार कीजिए तकरार समीना जबीन के साथ रोज रात 9 बजे। आप देख रहे हैं आवाज एंटरटेनमेंट, आवाज आपकी, चैनल हमारा, जुड़िए हमसे।
कनाडा की आवाज, पाकिस्तान की आवाज।
देखें और रहें बाखबर।
सियासत हो या खेल का मैदान, मईशियत हो या इंसाफ का फौदान,
दुनिया जहां की खबरें और तबसरे
देखिए आपके अपने चैनल आवाज न्यूज पर।
सिर्फ आपके अपने चैनल आवाज न्यूज पे।
At Dame Drops told us how good Popeye's buttermilk biscuit shrimp is without us even asking.
So crunchy, buttery, just like those biscuits. Are you hungry yet?
8 shrimp, a side, and a biscuit for just $6.99.
At KM 9000 sang about Popeye's buttermilk biscuit shrimp because he was feeling it.
Shrimp, 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 shrimp. Shrimp, 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 shrimp.
8 shrimp, a side, and a biscuit for just $6.99.
Welcome to Realty Coffee Talk. After the short break, you're in Awaz Entertainment in Canada, around the world. My name is Tahir Qureshi. I'm a broker of record for City Pro Realty Inc. brokerage. I'm your host. We were talking about seller representation agreement. Once you present this seller representation agreement to the client, most important is to check and verify the name of the person who is signing the paper, to make sure either you see them, their license is valid, or you can go to rico.on.ca to verify the brokerage is listed. And then, most important is acknowledgement. On the bottom of this form, the seller hereby acknowledges that the seller fully understands the terms of this agreement and have received a copy of this agreement and dated, signed, and dated. This is a very, very common complaint that people don't read the agreement when they sign it. They don't understand the seller representation agreement or listing agreement. They don't understand how the compensation is made. They don't understand the terms of the contract, when it commences, when it ends, because they blind faithfully sign the agreement. I encourage you, please read your agreement. It's a legal document signed by the brokerage and seller, you, putting a responsibility an obligation on your part to compensate the seller for a period of time. If you don't want to list your property for 6 months, make sure you pay attention to agreement and only sign for the period that you like to, because this is very important. And how the compensation is done, I tell you, the total commission that is agreed is the one you will be paying to the listing brokerage. You are giving a consent to the listing brokerage to give compensation to whatever amount that you agreed. There is no law, there is no condition, nobody has industry standard compensation. It is between you and the listing brokerage or the realtor or salesperson or broker representing. You negotiate anything you want. And then disclosure of benefits. This is very, very important. You ask it, are you going to arrange a mortgage? Are you going to getting paid from anybody? Because you are paying a fee once this transaction is completed to the brokerage for real estate services. Mostly referral fees are coming from mortgage. I haven't seen anyone giving any money for inspection or lawyer fees or anything. And this agreement declares that the referral fee could be paid, but how much? Law requires that it is disclosed. Anything that you want to agree, if a presentation is made, I encourage you to invite a minimum of 3 real estate professionals to come and present you. I'm a broker of record for City Pro Realty Inc. brokerage. I'm a fellow of Real Estate Institute of Canada, certified real estate specialist, senior real estate specialist, seller representative specialist, accredited buyer representative. I'm and CIPS, certified international property specialist. I'll be more than happy to assist and answer your question. You can call me directly on my cell number 416-451-3489, or you can call Awaz Entertainment anytime. The number is 647-484-0018. I encourage you, if you are a realtor, you are a brokerage, or you're a consumer involved in the construction, renovation, home improvement, electrician, plumber, call Awaz Entertainment. We have almost 3.9 million people are watching our Awaz Entertainment on Gold IPTV 580, YouTube channel, Facebook, live broadcast on Awaz Entertainment. I really appreciate you watching our program. Our next program will be on next Thursday at 7 p.m. I thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions, please feel free to give me a call or call our studio at 647-484-0018 or send me an email at tahir@realtycoffeetalk.com. I'll be more than happy to answer your question. Thank you very much for watching. May God bless you all. May God bless Canada. Thank you.